Shalom, welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabados of Delmer, together with my co-host Mark Ronich of Statewide News Service and jbiztechvalley.com.
Well, Rabbi Simon, we really like to have elected officials on the program. And we have a very special guest with us today, Herb Reilly, who is a Albany County legislator. He's a Democrat from Voorheesville and Slingerlands. And welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. I'm sure I'm going to
enjoy
it.
Here.
Yeah.
I've known you for many years, and you've had some career so far. How many years in the county ledge?
Since 2000, I was a county legislator, but I was 22 years in the town of New Scotland, first as a councilman and then as a supervisor for 12 years.
I see.
And then I went from there.
Now, in the town of New Scotland, the enrollment is like a third, Republican, Democrat, blank.
I don't think there were 5 Democrats in the town when I first got elected.
When you first got elected, there were like 5 Democrats.
So I'm saying that, but there weren't many.
You were a rare commodity being elected as a Democrat?
First supervisor.
But now?
Now it's pretty well balanced.
A third.
But, saying like in Bethlehem. In Bethlehem there were no Democrats in any positions here.
Right, but I'm saying now.
It's about a third.
The enrollment, party enrollment in New Scotland is really a third Dem, a third Republican, and a
pretty
third
much
blank.
So, yeah.
And it's been like that for about 15 years.
And that's basically
so
what happened after we took over the town hall, because 2 years.
You make it sound like it's a coup.
Well, it was a tough deal, really. Believe me. When I became elected as a councilman, I went for 6 months without even an agenda before the public meetings, and so I had to fight for it. Every month I gave my pitch to the board. Why, I can't function here. If you're going to talk about changing a road configuration somewhere, I have to go see it ahead of time so I know what you're talking about, or putting up stop signs or whatever we were doing. And we don't have it. And they would meet ahead of time, and so they had their whole agenda all planned. And I did it for, I think, 5 months, and then Nat Boynton was there this one time, who were in the spotlight at the time, and I gave the same pitch, and he was writing it down. They took one look at it. It passed 5-0. So I got my agenda and put basically into the team. And
so basically, they were all Republican, and you were the sole Democrat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, on the county legislature, you're there how many years now?
Since 2000. I ran in 99 and took over in 2000.
So that was the first time. Who'd you replace?
Dom DeChico, who was a very nice...
Dom DeChico.
Oh, he was a very nice person. Extremely nice.
So he was Republican.
Yeah.
So you were one of the seats that flipped.
Because, and I got interested in saying yes to the nomination because my good friend Charlie Hoteling was chairman of the legislature, and there were issues that they had to deal with in the county, but they could never do them because they were financial issues, and you needed a super majority, like rebuilding and refinishing the courthouse, and it would just not come up with enough votes, so they kept turning it down. Well, the year I got on, we got the super majority too. We had like 29 Dems, so there was things got done that had to be done. And the big argument against doing the courthouse was going to cost so much. Well, you could have done it 15 years ago, and it wouldn't have cost so much. But we threw around. So I was.
Do you think that the legislature should be downsized? The county legislature's 39 seats. Should it be downsized?
Let me tell you this. My district is a homogeneous district. Basically, it's a suburban area. If we downsized, instead of having 8,000 constituents, people in my district, I would have. If they went to the 25, I would have 12,000.
Okay.
And that would take and put me probably into Bern or somewhere up over the mountain. And I'd probably get lost if I went west that far and never come back. But I mean, you don't represent those people. It's too diverse of a district to understand.
But we would save taxpayers $1 million a year.
Oh, it's pennies, really, because if you knew, well, I mean it really, literally. I serve on the 3 committees I mentioned to you earlier.
Conservation, Improvement, Public Works, and Social Services.
Right, and I serve on 4 subcommittees.
Cooperative Extension, Soil and Water, Farm Use Protection, Fish and Wildlife.
Right, and I get no compensation extra for that. I travel lots of miles doing these things. If they didn't have myself in that, they gave me a bigger district, I would probably, I don't know how I would cover all those bases at the same time.
What's your salary? county
21,000.
legislator. 21.
21,000, and you get stipends. You get a stipend if you're a legislator. If you don't take, for example, the health insurance that's offered by the county, if you don't take it, you get another $2,500.
And you don't take the health insurance? Okay.
I don't take it because I already had it. But a lot of people who have it, like I do, it's paid for. Mine is paid for because I
Do
put.
you feel that it's a full-time job? I mean, that's really, we're talking about the county level, but it's a very big issue on the state level also. You know, I mean, to me, if you're dedicated to the job, you're going to be putting surely 40 hours in.
Well, not physically. I mean, not punching a clock.
Yeah.
But my constituents, I run into them at the size of my district of 8,000 people. I'll see them in the supermarket or the post office or in church or at a school function and so on and so on.
And you always have to have a pen and paper with you because they're always hitting you up with some
For some
concern,
requests, yeah, I try to remember things, but sometimes I don't. But so the district size of 8,000, for my own personal thing, is a nice size because I'm close to my constituents. But the real downside, if you increase drop the number of legislators from 39 to 25, you're going to have a district that's about 12,000 people.
So you're at 10,000,
Right.
12,000.
He said 8,000. He said 8,000.
No,
8,000.
You're the money that you get
Oh, 20.
is
Is 21,000.
21,000. So they
Yeah.
give you 25,000, and then you're getting the 2,500 because you don't take advantage of the health insurance, and
I don't take advantage, so I'm only getting the 21,000, period.
right, but you don't take advantage of the health insurance the county gives you. So you said you get a stipend for that.
No. Yeah, if you apply for it.
Okay.
I never applied for it.
You
I didn't. I know. I don't think it was right though, because I'm getting mine someplace else. Some of the legislators, even your most conservative legislators, who think fiscally responsible and take what you're not entitled to. I'm not entitled to that. I got my health insurance, so I don't take it.
Okay.
That stays right in the till.
Okay.
The
So
same.
you give back $2,500 essentially.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
And there were, at least in my term in office, when we had double-digit increases in taxes, I passionately, in my own way, the best I could without being rude, spoke against the legislators raising their salaries during these tough times for the people. And I lost. And so I just calculated at the end of the year and gave my raise back to the legislature. Yeah, I've done it twice.
so
And
if
then
you
once when Breslin asked us to take a leave.
So if it goes down to 25 seats, and then you get, let's say, $25,000 a year instead
Yeah.
of 21,
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't that
It w-
compensate you for the extra distance and extra?
It would help. It would help a lot. But I just feel like I like to be close to the people I'm dealing with. I don't want to just give them lip service. But you got to see the whole picture of our legislature with 39 people in seats there. You see that 8,000 is the same number that within a percent or two. You usually stay, all of them you can't draw it perfectly. We only have 4 minority districts.
That's right.
So if you took away, you would end up taking away you'd have to come up with 12,000 people. So where are they going to come from? The neighborhoods. So now you take 8,000, get 4,000 from this one and 4,000, and now you're down to 3. You see,
But even
You're
you
three
have a
to-
county legislator, William Clay,
Exactly.
African American,
yeah,
doesn't represent a minority
I agree with you,
community.
100%.
So you can be a minority elected
But,
into
yeah.
let's say a white
Yeah.
district.
You're
and
exactly
then you have
right.
Virginia Mafia Tobler, who's white.
She's in
and
the
she
black district.
represents
The black
the black
district.
district.
Exactly. That's what it's all about. Who's the best candidate?
That's
Not whether they're black, white, yellow, red, or green. Who doesn't matter. Who's the best? But the law is the law, and they have to have minority districts.
Okay.
You would take the 4 legislative districts we have now. There's only 3 black people in those 4,
Right.
but we picked up Bill Clay,
Right.
who was my God, you
Great
couldn't
guy.
ask for a better legislator from purely white district.
That's right.
That's the way it should be, but it doesn't. So if we did that, they would end up still, and Bill doesn't just vote for the minority party. He represents all the people
That's right.
in his district. And you'd end up with 3 legislators, and possibly 2. And I'll tell you just a little bit about my background. When I grew up, I was born in 1936, and we moved into Colony. It was a really sort of by Grandma's Pie Shop in that area, back at Dot's Garage, and just very modest area. I didn't have one minority child in school with me in Rosellaville. I never had one minority child with me in high school, and not one minority student with me in college. So I went through all this period of time. This, dealing with these people of color, has been an education for me that I can't even put a price on. I mean, it's a perspective, and you tend to walk in their shoes a little bit so you understand that's a tough life they got, and you appreciate that. Now to knock it down from 4 to 3 or 2, it could end up being only 2. They would be lone fish in this big pond of white faces, and I think, you know, anybody would gravitate towards people when they come into a room. You don't know anymore. There's a guy, and I'm not going to go sit with a bunch of ladies, or a lady says, I'm not going to go sit with a bunch of guys. And same with that. It's the same with your background. If somebody walks in and like, I got a shillelagh, and so I said, no, well, dumb Irishman like me, so I'll sit with him. And you limit your exposure to real opportunity to meet people of all different colors and faiths. And
So let me ask you, you're 78 years old.
Yeah.
I did the math.
Oh my God.
All right.
That was
Well, I say I'm 29, so
Okay.
you could,
But you said
you
you
could be
were born
with
in
me too.
1936. So
yeah, not 1836.
Right.
1936.
Right. So
Could be.
you're 78. These
Yeah.
are 4-year terms.
Right.
Next year you're up for re-election.
Yeah, it'd be a 4-year term, yeah.
Next year,
Yeah.
2015.
Exactly.
So are you going to run again?
Right now, I feel good. I only have only ache I can pay, and I got is 2 blown out discs, which slows me down a little bit. But I don't know. I don't think I don't have a lot to offer to my constituents. So that's why I would probably run. If something happened that I couldn't drive at night, because a lot of our, say I had cataracts and it was just my vision wouldn't handle it or whatever, my mind, that's the first thing you're going to go on me. But I might say, medically, I don't think it's a good idea to do it. I won't be able to do my duty, but I certainly put in the hours now.
But certainly, as of today, you have the intention
Yeah.
to seek re-election.
Yeah. Yeah, if I get nominated,
Because you would be 83 after
by
the
the time
next
it's done.
term.
Yeah, but Bill,
So you can't, I mean, how
yeah.
many more terms could you run for?
that would be it, I would think,
Yeah.
yeah. My wife would have my head.
Right.
She'd say, enough is enough. But it does keep me engaged,
Yes,
and I'm not going to, let's put it this way. I'm one of those people who wants to wear out, not rust out.
that's right.
That's the way I'm going to do it.
Well, just to put it, because the Jewish view, I mean, it really is a Jewish idea, because there is no age limit. And on the contrary, that the older you get, is some people in society, oh, you're old, you can't do it, just
Right.
let a younger
Yeah.
person. But the experience and the wisdom that
Right.
you achieve when you're older through experience really is,
Yeah.
in the United States, in our society, it is
Right.
counted at, oh, you're over the hill, you're
Right.
worthless.
Exactly.
And in Judaism, it really isn't that
Oh,
way. On the
that's good.
contrary, you
That-
should be looking forward
To
You have
those
so
years.
much more to
Yeah.
offer.
Well,
And
the Albany County Legislature wasn't around when they wrote the
Yeah,
match
yeah.
there,
But
so-
look how long George Infante stayed, right up till the
know.
end of his term. He
But you don't want to
ended-
be George Infante.
No, he was so polite, but he had a nice wisdom to him. I liked him a lot. I really did. But I like to
like you said,
contribute.
towards the end, unfortunately, he was
I'm sorry,
someone who
that's my cane.
didn't,
Yeah.
wasn't so quick on the
No,
uptake.
and I'm not that. I can't do math like I used to when I was a kid, so I didn't even use a calculator. I just knew the answer when I saw the question.
Well, I just want to let everyone know, you are a funeral home director,
Right.
and you have, was it Reilly and Sons? Or,
That's the official name. It's really Wife and Reilly, if you know the truth of
Okay.
it. My wife is the boss.
Right.
She's very helpful. She has a license, and my son David has a license.
And what's her name?
Susan.
Susan.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, really delightful.
And you have a license.
Right, and my
Okay.
son. So we have 3 licenses, 2 places, one in Voorheesville, and then we started down in Colony and
On
Central Ave. In Central
which
Ave.
is near where you grew up in Roseville.
Oh yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
far at all.
So
Yeah.
that's why it's there. Okay.
Yeah, and at that time you didn't have cell phones, you didn't have
Right.
answering services or anything, and my dad had to pay to bring up one line, all on the poles, all the way from
Right.
across the Central Avenue, across up Elmhurst Avenue, over to our house. It was about 3/4 of a mile,
Oh,
just so
it's a
you
big
could.
deal then, yes.
Oh yeah, so you could communicate, because people don't pick 9 to 5 to die. They, and whatever.
I always think it's important, that just like that, you're a businessman, like sometimes you have these professional politicians, I mean, maybe in the country, that they never held a job. And, to represent the people, like you're saying, you're so concerned with the people and you want to know them and get
Yeah.
to know them, but you're down to earth because you know what a business is and you
Oh,
know what
yeah.
it means, the struggles
Right.
of your everyday
Oh
man.
my goodness,
And
yes.
the woman in the street. So,
Yeah.
and that's what makes,
Yeah.
I think a good
Yeah,
representative.
Yeah, I feel I know where I came from. I know my roots, and my father and I, but he was by far. I was only, 14 when he bought that building, but I learned the
Which
mix
building on Central?
on Central. I mixed cement, did wiring, did plumbing, did
Uh-huh.
carpentry. Was up on roof peaks, putting
Yeah,
shingles on
having
it.
fun.
Yeah, but I was learning those things. That's the way my dad
That's
did
right.
it. And I can recall Dad working there on the side of the building and somebody coming up and saying, "Could I please speak to the owner?" And my father, his work clothes, and he says, "Yeah, I'm the owner." You're talking to him. It was like,
We have a funeral, we have only one Jewish funeral home,
Uh-huh.
Levine Memorial
right.
Chapel.
Oh, yeah, he's a nice fellow, Mark.
And there's video that you can have video of, for people who can't make it
Uh-huh.
to the service.
Right. They
You
make
know,
the-
do you offer?
we don't offer it, no. I
That's
haven't
too
had it.
advanced.
Too advanced, technically. I got phone with one ring-a-dingy, two ring-a-dingies.
I see.
But no,
because I think
it
that's
helps.
very-
It helps. Yeah,
because
yeah.
it brings someone in who can't make it
Right.
through the internet.
People
they
would-
can watch it through the
Right,
internet.
but people actually set up their own camera maybe and take a picture of the service and
Well, they
record
take
it
a
for them.
picture, this
But I don't
is
mean
live
recording.
streaming,
Yeah,
you know,
they have
so-
live streaming cameras that people use. I had them set them up once in a great while.
Okay.
Yeah, so they could do it. There's room enough, and
Right.
the-
Have you ever had a Jewish funeral in your funeral home? Have you ever?
in Colony just two.
None in Voorhees.
No,
Okay.
neither. And no,
Did you? Are you versed in Jewish traditions of funerals?
not really. No, I just know there was a time frame when they passed away that it had to be buried by the next before sundown. I think, isn't it?
Within 24 hours.
Within 24 hours. Yeah. Yeah, and a friend of mine, he used to dig the graves up in the cemetery there, across from Stuyvesant Plaza, up
Right.
in that area. I can't remember the name.
Well, it's three
Yeah.
three synagogues have.
And on Fuller Road too.
And on Fuller Road is
Yeah,
Beth Abraham
yeah.
Jacob Independent Benevolent
Yeah,
Society.
yeah,
So,
Yeah.
but I just thought maybe you would.
Well, no, they don't
no.
call us. It's
Okay.
it's just like I said earlier. The minority people don't use our services,
Mhm.
and I had no trouble at all selling my mom and dad's house. We lived in that house in Colony
Yeah.
for 56. My parents did 56 years, and I moved out when I was married. But we sold it to the first family of color
Right.
in the whole neighborhood, and it was
Didn't make you popular.
no, it didn't. it doesn't help really.
No. Well, let me ask
But it's
you
a
this.
business choice I made anyways. I
course,
don't care.
of
It's
course.
the right thing. They're very nice people.
They're probably still there.
I think they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're nice people. I judge a person by who they are
His
and what they.
integrity,
Yeah.
character, not
Oh, yeah.
the color of their skin.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't mind if I had to have a surgeon working on me who was a minority or,
I understand.
Yeah.
So, what I wanted to ask you was when you were dating,
Mhm.
did you go around with a hearse on these
Oh,
dates? Because I
no.
know some-
Well, I'll
no,
tell you-
there was a funeral director
Yeah.
who we should remain
I-
nameless. When he went around on dates, he
Yeah.
brought his hearse.
I
because
didn't do
when he
that.
gets-
I was too young. My father wouldn't let me drive the hearse back then when I was courting my wife. But I will say this, my wife and I only lived about 5 blocks away. And I went over to Worcester to Holy Cross College. And Susan, my wife, I knew her from 3rd grade in grade school. We've been married now 56 years.
Wow.
So it's a long time. But then he said to us, he was a wise fellow, actually, very smart. And we used to call him, not to his face, but Shell Shock Shanahan, because he went through the war. But he said, when you're looking for a date and you're somebody you want to spend the rest of your life, he said, don't go hunting across the seas and you're from the same background. You'll be better off if you just find somebody you like. I said, she was a pretty cute girl. So I asked her to
But you didn't bring your hearse.
no, I
You
didn't.
didn't buy-
Because you never know
But
when you're going to get a call, like you
Right,
were saying
right.
before. People don't die 9 to 5.
Right. But I did bring my hearse twice, and I embarrassed to pick up my children. Once my daughter from Siena, and that's very sensitive. You don't want to pull up in front of the door with your hearse and say, last one in rides in the back. No, you gotta. You gotta be careful. And she was a human. I shouldn't have. She's a delightful girl, actually, beautiful girl. And then my youngest son at Cub Scout or Boy Scout camp. I was coming back from a funeral. I'll pick him up. Holy jeez! If he could have gotten any lower in the seat, he would have been underneath the dashboard. Oh, but it's.
But these are the stories you look back on.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
humor
And
now,
and they would sing rhymes. I can always remember them singing a tisket a tasket. They were singing tisket a casket. I couldn't believe this. and then I had a wisdom tooth taken out, and my son, I was laying on the sofa, got ice back on my chin, on my cheek, and he drew me a picture card, and I opened it up, and there's Dad laying in a casket with a flower in his hand.
Are they in the business, your kids?
Just one, just David.
All right,
I'm very
that's great.
fortunate, very fortunate.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
kids don't. It's
No, it's a
interesting.
long-
I know a lot of business people, and most of them the kids just do go
Yeah.
somewhere else, do
Yeah,
something else.
yeah, he took a shine to it, and I deal with my father. My father treated it like a corporal work of mercy. Bill, he did a lot of pro bono work. We do a lot of pro bono work. We don't,
Mhm.
beat on people, sell them what they don't need or what have you.
I wanted to ask you, on a serious note, we have this epidemic and this crisis in the world
Oh yeah,
about Ebola.
yeah,
And in New York State, we're trying to figure out how to, funeral directors are up in arms,
Right.
cemetery workers are up in arms
right,
about what do you do with an Ebola-stricken cadaver.
right.
So,
We've had
wait a minute, let me just
Go
tell
ahead,
the
yeah.
audience that, the Ebola, the virus lasts 3 days after
right.
a body is deceased,
Mm-hmm.
which is different from AIDS or mad cow disease
Right.
when the virus dies with the body.
Right.
So basically, you have a situation where people in New York State, if someone had
Yeah.
died of Ebola, we wouldn't really have
Yeah.
a state policy
Right.
of what to do.
Right.
Now, Department of Health says wrap the body 3 times in plastic and then incinerate or cremate.
Right.
And the Department of Environmental Conservation, on the other hand, says, wait a minute, plastic, incinerate?
Right.
I thought we got
Yeah.
away from that. That's toxic. You can't do that in
Yeah.
the state.
Yeah.
So now they're trying to figure out, what do you do? And how do you
Well-
feel as a funeral home director,
Yeah.
with dealing with the
Yeah.
potential
Right.
of having an Ebola-stricken
When
cadaver?
somebody passes away from Ebola, it's pretty much taken out of our hands. The state has passed a law, but prior to that, the Center for Communicable Diseases has been developing a policy. And they have their teams that go right to the hospital
Mhm.
that's treating the person, so they must know ahead of time what the situation is, and they get prepared for it. And they do all of the wrapping of the body in a 3 body bags, really. They're plastic, they're zipped, and so on, and prepare it for earth. They would we would bring a casket to the door of the morgue. We wouldn't even be allowed to go in the morgue, and they would, and it would be either a sealed metal casket or one that's going to be cremated immediately, and then put it in there for us. And then we're supposed to provide our own protective gear when it comes through the door from the morgue into our hands. But I was mentioning earlier, things like that you wouldn't ordinarily stock of that quantity that's going to be able to be used, because they do have a shelf life. I mean, I've got things I would use for somebody had AIDS, for example, or whatever. I have those, and hepatitis and glanders, is one of, and then the bubonic plague even. I have those things, but
The uniform, the head-to-toe uniform.
yeah, but they're not like what you see on television. They look like they're coming from Mars or the moon. They don't. If the mask isn't tight, somebody has to be there to help you get your gloves off, and he's got to be dressed. And how you help him get his gloves off afterwards, I don't know. They got to have ways of disposing of that. You have to have incinerator to burn that stuff up, and it has to be fresh. And so if you had it sitting on a shelf and you didn't use it for 18 months or something, that mask is going to be loose fitting, and the garb is maybe the rubber covers for your shoes, and so we're getting frayed a little bit, and they're starting to look like they could have a crack in them. I don't know how it's going to work. I think they should take care of everything in there and bring it out. If they're going to, all in the casket, put it in the hearse for me, and just with my luck, I'd probably have a big smash up, and the casket would be flying out of the casket, out of the back of the hearse.
Only in a comedy movie. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Things happen. But I don't know. It's a serious concern for everybody, and you got to. And yet, some cultures would not allow immediate cremation, and they insist that the family participate in dressing and casketing the body. That's
And
a
in
real
Jewish
problem.
religion, you're not supposed to cremate at all, right?
Yeah, it's not cremate, but it gets always a big question of, listen, you can't harm other people either.
Right. See,
I
you're.
mean, I don't know. It'd be a very, very interesting question. You're right about Jewish law,
Yeah.
because again, you have to follow the state law.
Yeah.
You can't just go against state law if they
Yeah.
demand
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So that's always an issue also
Yeah.
in Jewish law. The law of the land is the law. That's the quote in the Talmud. You can't just go against what,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that's why I was
We
wondering.
had
It'd be an
about-
interesting question. Hopefully, we don't have to
Oh, I
deal
hope
with
not.
it.
The poor soul.
Give a little blessing. Just a few
just-
more minutes to
Just
go.
a couple of minutes to go.
Yeah.
Quickly, about the nursing home, can you
Uh-huh.
give us an update?
Well, when Dan McCoy, our county exec, proposed going to that, what was the name of her?
Ann Lee? No.
Well, it's the Ann Lee, but I'm talking about the group CNC or something
Well,
like
anyway,
that,
we
Two Horse
have-
and lease it, and they were going to lease it. We were going to pay them $16 million to lease it from
I
us.
understand, but do you have confidence that the guy who they have in there as the
Yeah,
administrator
Larry.
is going to
Yes.
be turning the nursing home around basically financially?
Well, when Danny tried to do the other, he was saying they were losing $1 million a month.
Yeah,
All right, we're down to 3 now, for the year.
right.
For the year. So
Okay.
wow, that's an improvement, and I just cannot see the people of Albany County not having a facility to
Right.
go to for their care. So
Have
we
you
got
visited,
to
have you visited the nursing home?
not recently, but I've been in and out of it
Well,
lots of
maybe
times.
we'll go.
Yeah, I've been in and out of it lots of times. Yeah,
I haven't been there yet.
yeah, and I can truly say that the nursing staff and the business staff are professionals, and they treat the people with TLC,
Mm-hmm.
really. And I go there. I would go to the nursing homes any hours of the day and night. And usually, in Albany County is the only one has a morgue on site, but sometimes they would let me go right to the room.
Now I can't go to the nursing home.
Yeah, see, there
Okay.
is a morgue on site. But I call walking down the hallway after hours with a nurse guiding me to whatever room I have to go to. And seeing a door ajar, and there's a nurse with a lady cradling her in her arm, her head. Now, come on, dearie, just one more spoon. Come on, a little more, and so on.
Okay.
We got to have it.
We're out of time. We're going to have to call you back, but we want to give you, first of all, you're doing a good job and for a lifetime of work to the community, and also keep you doing what you're doing and do it with good health.
Oh,
Much
thank you.
success.
Yeah, I hope I can do it again. We'll see what happens.